My name is Lynch from Waterponics, and today this is part 2, talking about what's wrong with the aquaponics system. Alright, so what's actually wrong with the aquaponics system? Well, nothing too major. No, I'm kidding. There is serious issues. There are some serious issues that have to be rectified. So the main issue which I want to resolve is there are solids building up in the grow beds, which is a no-no, especially for this type of aquaponics system. You could get away with it in a media bed, but you do have to clean media beds. A lot of people don't know that. Ever so often you do have to clean media beds, and that's because when you have solids building up in a given area in an aquaponics system, and these solids aren't removed from the system, they can create anaerobic zones. And anaerobic zones are basically zones without oxygen, which are terrible in an aquaponics system, because you always want oxygen to the system, because the plants need oxygen and the roots need oxygen. You can also be creating environments where you have other types of unwanted organisms using the very oxygen that your fish plants and bacteria need. So problem 1, you're having some solids building up in the grow beds. So simple solution, right? Upgrade the filtration. So after the water leaves the fish tank through that pipe there, so it's lifting overflow, it comes in here into the swirl filter through that pipe there. There you go. So you see a nice swirling action happening there, and the water is skimmed off through the middle, right at the top, and you can see it's working quite well. If you can see down in the bottom of that tank, you might have some glare from the water, but it does a good job at capturing solids, especially the larger ones. Now, however, there are quite a few bit of suspended solids that we have to capture as well. And if we come over here into this biofilter, we have some scoring. Give me a second. We have some scoring pads here and some polyfill. It's almost like a thicker piece of cotton wool or something there, called polyfill. We use it to stuff pillows. It does a good job. It's impossible to clean, but it does a pretty good job in trapping those solids. So we still have quite a few suspended solids even when it's leaving the biofilter. As you can see down there, the open cell media has some stuff in it, and unfortunately that goes straight back into the sump tank, or as before, it went straight back into these two beds, and we are having solids trapped in the grow beds. So what I did was added a new filter, and this seems to be working pretty well. So this one was designed to trap some of the smaller solids, the more suspended solids. And as you can see, it's working pretty well, but it's not foolproof. So you have some solids trapped there, and lots of stuff happening in there. And I was amazed that when I put it in to see how well it actually worked, because it just had the spare container here, and I just decided to use it just to make this makeshift filter. So far that's not working too bad, except that it sprung a leak when I was trying to add the uniseal, So I tried my best to use some flashbang to stop that up, but I don't like it. It doesn't look clean, doesn't look presentable, and it's leaking, so it's losing its efficiency. So I'm going to replace it, and that's going to come in the upgrades that we're going to be doing. So solids are being trapped in the grow bed, and we already explained why that's bad. Now let's talk about why it's happening. So it's still happening even though this filter has been here for about, I don't know, 3 weeks to a month or something, and it's because the solids aren't getting out of the grow beds. Now the IBCs they're okay, they're inexpensive to work with, but instead of this being one trough, we have 1, 2, 3 grow beds, and the interface is a wall, so it's like each tank is contained. Each tank has its own micro environment happening in it, and basically if it was a trough, if for example there were solids entering from that point, and this was one trough and it leaves this point, the solids would make their way to where the exit is because it's one trough. However, you have to ensure when you're using with these IBC tanks that all the solids are removed from within each of these rectangles. They're not quite square. One side is longer than the other. This is the shortest side, that's the longer. So, and that is the problem. So in each of these tanks, I'm going to use this grow bag to show you. We have, if you see over there, we have these 1-inch drains. Now, like I said in the previous video, or if I didn't say it before, I'm not sure I did. I've learned so much in the past year that this system has existed. And we have these 1-inch drains. And these 1-inch drains are not doing an adequate enough job in removing all the solids out of these grow beds. Now, I usually use these 1-inch drains when I'm doing a medium base bed. So we put the bell over there to make a bell siphon, and that's easy. I use the same concept with these beds, thinking that it would work, and it does okay. But as you can see, we have a lot of roots and a lot of suspended solids trapped in this bed. You can see a lot of stuff floating around in the water, and that is exactly what we really don't want. So although there aren't any plants here, we still have some roots and stuff down in there, and those aren't coming out. Those aren't coming out of this bed, and that's not a good thing. So the other problem is that not only is the filtration not removing the small suspended solids, is that when these suspended solids are dumped into the grow bed, they aren't being removed. So this is posing a problem. This is posing a problem. The problem this is posing is that when these solids stay into this bed, they're gonna stick on the plant roots, which is the problem I'm having right now trying to grow arugula, if I must be honest, because arugula has some really fine fibrous roots. I'm trying it out for the first time. Now the lettuce gets around it because the lettuce doesn't have roots that are as fibrous. The roots of the lettuce can be quite thick. However, the roots in the arugula are really tiny and fine. So they themselves act like filters, and they trap all of the little tiny particles that are suspended in the water. So those are the two main issues with the aquaponics system. Number 3. When I started, I think I had about 20 or 30 fish in here. Now I have a lot more than that, because tilapia are prolific breeders when the conditions are right. And some time ago, I had about over 100 fry, and I decided to keep all. So I raised them. I had them in this grow bed actually. Before this was a grow bed, I had them in here and I fed them some egg custard, and they came up really well, nice and healthy. But now the tank is overstocked, where the ratio, the fish to plant ratio, and the amount of food which the fish could process, I guess is kind of posing a problem, especially due to the fact that the filtration is inadequate. So the first thing we are going to do is up the filtration, increase the filtration, make it more efficient, and then we're also going to increase the diameter of the pipe size exiting these grow beds. And what that would do is that you're able to get those solids removed. So let me give you a good, that bed wasn't bad actually, that bed was okay. The water was pretty clean in there. So let me give you a good example of a bed that has a serious problem. So if you look down there, that's what the bottom of the tank looks like, the white part. And all of that black part there is some solids. So then you have the plants growing, especially with the water being agitated over here, you will find a lot of those solids are kicked up. Not to mention the water's being agitated and some more suspended particles. I keep calling them solids. I apologize. Solids sink, suspended particles float. That's why they're called suspended particles. They're suspended in the water column, and it's kind of hard to get rid of them. So these suspended particles are being added here and agitated, and I guess that kicks up some of the ones at the bottom, and then, you know, they're attached to the plant roots. And like I said, it's I guess you can't call them suspended particles anymore if they sink, but they're sinking in the wrong place. We don't want them to be sinking in our grow beds. We want them to be inside of our filter. So that's it. Filtration and pipe outlet from grow beds way too small. The last issue is that the spray bar here that we built is intended to work a lot better than this. Water is supposed to be coming out all of these holes. Like how that one is coming out there. So you see that one, nothing's coming out there, and that's good because that one I believe is blocked. But we need more pressure and more head height coming up here into this spray bar so that we could get some more water mixing and stuff going on in the fish tank to get some more oxygen there for those fish, especially due to the fact that they're getting bigger and bigger as the days go by. So that's what. So we are going to address those issues, and part of that is why this line is here. So in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about the measures that I'm going to put in place to address all of these issues. Thanks again for watching, and this is part 2. If you didn't see part 1 as yet, talking about the history of this aquaponics system, talking about the age of it and the little things that we've done over the years and what we've learned, and some of the things that I have corrected. So in the next video, part 3, I'm going to now talk about what I'm now going to do to further address some of the issues that we haven't rectified as yet. Thanks again for watching, and remember, let's grow together.